ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the September 25th, 2025 meeting of the Oak Park Municipal Advisory Council, known as the MAC, to order. It's now 7 o'clock. My name is Brian Tushinsky. I am the chair of the MAC, and on behalf of Supervisor Gorel and his staff who are here this evening, and my colleagues up here on the dais, we'd like to welcome you to the meeting this evening. Very full evening agenda, so we look forward to getting right in. At this point, I'm just going to do a roll call to determine if we have a quorum. If you could just, MAC members, just say present. Jane Nye.
Present.
Michelle Santucci.
Present.
Brianna Adams.
Present.
J.L. Diaz.
Present.
And Brian Tushinsky present. We are full here tonight. If everyone could please rise, place the flag, please. Hand over your chest and repeat after me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Okay, first item on the agenda is approving of the MAC minutes, previous minutes of July 31st, 2025. MAC members, you did receive it in your packet. Are there any errors or omissions that you wish to raise with those minutes? Jane?
No.
Michelle?
No.
Brianna?
It says on the minutes from last month, video recording live stream, and that meeting was not live streamed, so I had a constituent reach out about that, and we had no live stream of it, so it should be removed from the minutes.
Chris got that? Okay, thank you. JL?
Yeah, on page 6, it says here in number 9, JL mentioned he attended the concert in the park. It was not me who attended. It was the Oak Park Fire Safe Council who attended that, so you just have to correct that one.
Okay, thank you. And the chair has
I move to approve the minutes as amended.
going to wish to speak this evening on a name, bring you up. Please come to the podium, use the microphone. The reason we do that, as opposed to standing for wrap-up at that point. Next is the approval of the agenda. I've been in this office. We do have to move some of the regular, a couple of things. First, also the Oak Park Unified School District, which is a start. And then number 15, which is the Public Works Agency, George Andrade and Mariposa Landscaping, who are the contractors for landscaping in Oak Park. They would follow immediately thereafter at 7:30 p.m. Those two things I need to do. And also, if I could ask Chris, it would be number 8, item 8 here. There we go. It says Oak Park MAC member comments. Could you please received and Oak Park MAC member comments? That item number 8 is where we receive a letter and we read them out, and then the MAC discusses it thereafter. So those are the three changes.
No, but in regards to number 8, historically, members, it has been an agenda item outside of the liaison comments. So I understand about having written comments by perhaps being called out separately. I think that's appropriate, but also the MAC members, it would be an opportunity for them to give comments that are not related to their liaison.
Committee. Okay, very good. All right. Brianna?
No changes.
JL?
I would like to pull the...
Oh, we'll get to, is it a consent? We'll get to that.
Consent.
Is there any changes to the agenda itself?
Oh, no. I'm good, thank you.
Okay. So with those three, or those comments, can I have someone on the council please make a motion to approve the September 25th, 2025 MAC agenda as amended?
So moved.
A seconder?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Any abstentions? No. Carries. Very good. All right. still got good time. Let us go then to the next item on here, which we have, thank you, I need that over there, is the approval of the consent calendar, the item, the agenda, consent. There are A, B, C, D, and E. As required by the Board of Supervisors of Ventura County, I read out the titles so you know. Consent item A, recommendation to receive and file the Ventura County Sheriff's Office report. Consent item B, recommendation to receive and file the California Highway Patrol report. Consent item C, recommendation to receive and file the CSA4 Landscape Committee's report for August and September 2025. Consent item D, recommendation to receive and file the Ventura County Fire Department report for August and September. And consent item E, recommendation to receive and file the Oak Park MAC request tickler. I always say this because we have new folks that come in here. What is a tickler? You can see that online. No, it's not. Sorry, it's not a funny thing, but yes. It is basically, it's a full spreadsheet of everything, and Michelle and I work on it, Michelle mostly, and when you, the public, bring issues to our attention throughout the year, and the MAC says, yes, we think that's a great idea, we put it in this spreadsheet, and it says when we recommended approval and we give status updates. A lot of times the items of action go to the Public Works Agency at the county, and we track the progress of when it's been completed and what actions we have taken, or if it's still in process. So you can go on the Supervisor Girl's site, look up the tickler, and you can see everything that we're doing and all our actions. There's a lot there. So you can say, well, what's going on with this project? You'll see it there. Okay, so does anyone on the MAC wish to pull any of the consent items? JL?
Yes, consent item A.
A, you wish to pull?
I wish to pull, and then if we could have the sheriff's representative to discuss.
Okay, so you wish to pull consent item A. Okay. Brianna?
No.
Michelle?
I have some comments on A, B, and E.
So we're going to pull A, B, and E. Okay. Jane?
No changes.
Chair has none either. So what we will do for a matter of order and priority is that when we do get to the regular agenda, what we will do there is we will bring back these consent items and we will discuss them. Okay. Other than that, can I have a motion to approve the consent items with pulling of A, B, and E?
I'll recommend that we receive and file C and D.
Okay. Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Abstentions? No. Very good. Okay. I am going to, because it is the public comments are going to take a bit of time, I'm going to move right now to number 13 on the agenda. I have to use yours. Yeah. There we go. Thank you. And this one is a presentation from the Oak Park Unified School District update on the 2026 Crossing Guard funding. Very quickly, the MAC asked for the presentation this evening. Every year, February and March, we go through our budget, of what the county's budget is. And you'll see that for crossing guards, for the school district is approximately 21% of our budget. And so there's been a lot of public comment about why are we funding the school district for the crossing guards. And over the years, we've heard very much that the school district is strapped for funding. They can't get funding. They come to us for that type of funding. And we made as a condition of support for the budget, what actions can the school district take to look for funding sources to help offset our contribution to the budget. So this evening, we're having the presentation from the school district. And gentlemen, if you introduce, or actually, Brandon, did you want to just make a quick introduction to who's here, or, or not?
Sure. This is Mr. Adam Rauch, oversees a lot of the financials. He works with the bond committee. Oversees capital improvement projects. There's nothing he doesn't do for our kids, and he's extremely fiscally responsible and always looking to go above and beyond to find ways to fund programs for our
the student support and school safety.
He was such a vital part of our district that a position was created for him to address the needs that continue to come in regards of safety, and he's working on the fire prevention and everything like that. So he looks after the safety of the district's kids.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, if we could keep our comments combined to a 10-minute maximum, that would be appreciated. Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Can you hear, everyone here fine with this? Okay, good, thank you. Yeah, my name's Adam Rauch. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Administrative Services. We were here, Brad and myself, a little over about a year ago in 2024. And at that time, we had a discussion about the crossing guards, actually sort of talking about the history, knowing that this goes back to 1994. I think our first contract dating back to that time. And then obviously we had discussed the increases in cost over the time throughout the years, which, there had been a concern, and then which led to a discussion about, what are some things we can do or to explore that could help, alleviate the pressures, knowing that a lot, all of us, when you have a budget that, for instance, if you're deficit spending, the only way you can, only two things happen. You either increase your revenue or you decrease your expenditures, or a combination of the two. And so, when we left, there was some things that we did explore. One of the goals of the Oak Park Unified School District is to always explore alternative sources of revenue to help alleviate the demands on the general fund. So we constantly explore those things. And myself, as well as Ashley Batista, had been looking at, looking at grants, because that was one of the things we wanted us to look at. We were saying, hey, could you guys look into grants? And myself and Ashley both had looked into grants. And the problem is, unfortunately, the ones that were out there that were about, that directly you could, sort of relate to crossing guards were more about infrastructure. We called, and it wasn't about labor. You can apply for the grants for training of crossing guards or to install striping, lights, those types of things, but it had nothing to do, with labor. And you can sort of see that, a lot of the time these grants want to provide you the infrastructure but not pay for people, because people is, grants usually are one-time dollars to help with one-time costs. People are ongoing, and grants usually aren't used to pay for ongoing costs. So unfortunately, some of those grants didn't, or the grants that we saw didn't apply. We'd also spoke to OPEF, our educational foundation in Oak Park, and talked about fundraising for the crossing guards. And they actually, as part of their ask for this year, while it isn't specifically stated crossing guards, their general ask, they have a number of asks. One of them, which is their general ask, they're asking for, an ask of $50,000 towards, which we would use towards helping towards the crossing guards. We also, when we were here, we had discussed, are there other sort of programs out there, or can you, maybe look at, I think it was suggested that there may be other school districts that have volunteers or students do the crossing guards. Well, one, we checked in to make sure that, to check with other districts in the county, and that wasn't the case. And also when I called my JPA, who's my, our insurance for all the counties or for all the districts in Ventura County, they said absolutely not. You cannot use students for crossing guards. That would be a big no-no, and we would essentially be on the hook for any liability that resulted as a part of that. The other thing that we discussed was going out for an RFP, a request for proposal. We've prepared a proposal to send out to advertise for this year, but that is ready to be sent out, and is something that we will do, and obviously we can discuss that. Knowing that when you do an RFP, you are at I do want to make sure it's clear, when we looked at, we've had a relationship with All City Management for a long time, that I started calling out there to say, hey, who else is out there that I could even solicit a quote from? And it was very clear that for municipalities or for people who are contracting crossing guard services, All City Management is the one. If you look at anybody in the county, you will not find anybody else who is contracting crossing guards as they're using All City Management. That's not to say, hey, it's a good practice to do an RFP to see what's out there, and that is something that we would advertise. One of the other things that we had discussed was, can we evaluate the number of crossing guards that we have? We have 13 crossing guards that, at least in my time here, I think when I started, we had 10, and we've added 3 since then. Can we go back? Times change, patterns change. Can we go back and look at each of the crossing guards and see if that's necessary? Maybe have the county, because at one point the county did have this sort of framework or guideline crossing you'd need to do, and part of that was them assessing it. So I thought, well, maybe we can do the...
Be clear about something. This is a difficult prospect in my position to say, okay, I'm looking at probably 10 of the 13. You can go stand out there and start counting, and it's like, yeah, there's no doubt we can. And there's a couple. The four-way, the 2 that are immediately in front of the school, Pissarro, and then there's kind of one in between directly leading to the campus. Those are very heavily trafficked, and but the four-way stop at Hawthorne and Rockfield, I would watch each of these areas for about 45 minutes, which is about the duration of the shift. And at that one, there was 11 students who would cross, and there was actually almost as many community members going other ways. And it's not a denigration of the guard, but the guard was sitting almost the entirety of their shift at that place. The other one that really stood out that I looked at and to say if we were to reduce would be, and just to compare that, the 11 students just, 1 block down or 2 blocks down at Pissarro, there's about at least 60, 65 students crossing, just for the comparison. The other one that we took a closer look at is Conifer and Oakleaf near Brookside and the backside of Brookside Elementary. And one of the things that took place there is that we had to close that back gate for entry into the campus, mostly having to do with the availability of campus supervision to cover that entire field and such. And with that closing, we still have several guards around Brookside, but there were actually, in that 45-minute crossing period, there were 0 students who crossed. They actually went down towards Canaan, and there's a crossing guard at Conifer and Canaan, and they were crossing there over to Mayboyer Park. So I saw quite a few students from that community crossing. And I'll be real honest, watching out there all the way along everywhere else, it was a lot of jaywalking rather than using crosswalks. But at that specific crosswalk, no students were crossing, and the guard was there the entire time. Again, I'm not in favor of cutting crossing guards at crosswalks, but it's also in some ways hard to justify when you see something like that. So I did also, to Adam and Superintendent Wen, make some recommendations that we wanted to talk to Public Works about some possible lights, flashing lights, and additional red curbing for visibility and things like that we've seen at some of the other crossing areas. But those are the 2 main conclusions, I guess, that came out of the survey that I did. Is there any questions to any of that?
Thank you very much. I'll open it up to the MAC members for comments and questions. Start with Jael.
Yes. So, so now what we're looking at is cutting off.
I was asked to give information and make certain recommendations if there were to be. I'm not going to say we need to do this or not. It was just for information for the district and the county to say, to consider cutting a guard or more guards, and what do we do to mitigate that? I'm not comfortable making a recommendation saying, yeah, you need to cut this.
All right, so basically we identified some possible cutouts, and then we're gonna have the RFP as a mitigating, I guess, next steps for making sure that we are fiscally responsible within, of course, the MAP and the school district.
As well as potentially OPEF and their fundraising efforts.
Oh, yeah, thank you. That's it, thank you.
Great questions. Brianna?
I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time. Obviously, Public Works has a lot on their plate, so I appreciate that you guys took your own time and manpower to go out there and take a look at this. It shows that you're committed to trying to help us alleviate this budget problem. You take it seriously, and it's good information for all of us to have. So I just want to thank you for taking the time.
Michelle?
Yes, thank you very much. Good to see you both. Question regarding when the crossing guards went from 10 to 13. Do you recall when that happened, and what was the driver behind that?
Well, each one I want to make sure you know, those weren't done in a vacuum. We actually came before the MAC, and there was at the very least a discussion to say, why was there a need for them, and essentially an approval at the time. I could think of one that was actually the second one on Deer Hill and Canaan was added because there's actually, the community was saying, hey, someone got hit at that time and said, hey, there's a need for another one, and we had come before the MAC at that point, and the MAC had graciously said, yes, let's add it. But hold on, actually, can you hold us while
In that example, there was a visibility issue on somebody coming down from Doubletree and turning left onto Canaan, going south, and that visibility, we needed to have the guard actually stop traffic because they couldn't see somebody crossing there. So that was one example. I think just a little further down with Deer Hill and Canaan, we started seeing with the Canaan Shuttle, and there's a Canaan Shuttle stop there. When that was put in, there's a whole lot more traffic, foot traffic, and that's when we came to ask for that additional one as well.
So I'll just ask a follow-up question. So the one guard that's Brookside Elementary, where you said there was 0 children at the time of your observation, was that one of the last 3 were added, or?
Sounds like the gate was closed.
The gate was closed a year ago. There used to be more from that community coming across, but with that gate closed, that side of the community started walking towards crossing to the
Okay, thank you.
where there's another car.
Okay. And then one, there's 11 children. Was that more recent one that was added that had been? Just curious as to what would have driven down. It was a greater need then, and it's a lower need now. Why that might be?
She's asking about. No, that must have been one of the originals, probably.
So the 11th guard was Canaan and Doubletree, which was 2016. In 2018, we added the second guard at Canaan and Doubletree. A student had been hit at that time in 2018. And then in 2023-24, we added the 13th guard, which, didn't I just tell you? Deer Hill.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Jane?
Yeah, thank you so much for doing the investigation. It really gives us great feedback. But I've got a question. Do you have a two-way communication with all city management? So if they have a guard that's sitting there without children crossing, do they let you know, or do they try to get that person more activated, or do we have that back and forth opportunity to talk to them?
We communicate with them if there's an issue, or actually they come to us an awful lot if they say, hey, something's going on here with a light or something like that. So yes, we do have communication with them. In your specific question, that hasn't
It would be
been
good, I
raised
think, to
to-
like talk to them about, because we don't want to have somebody sitting there with 0 children crossing. I mean, but we want to have, if you have 65 children crossing, we want to put that guard there. So I don't know, maybe an opportunity to bring up to them.
I'd be glad to talk to them, sure.
Yeah, that would be great. And thank you so much again for your time.
Yeah, and I do want to mention this, Public Works has been very, they've been very responsive. I had a meeting with them this week to discuss, if we were to remove crossing guards, could we make sure that there's enhancements at those spots? And they're also in the same, sort of how we are. There's only enough money in the bucket, but they look for ways to mitigate these costs, and as well look at grants. And there's usually every 2-year grant in which they, sort of build up all their list of like crosswalk enhancements or bus stops, that needs seats or overhangs, shade structures, as well as, the ramps at the corners. And so they're open to, obviously they're open to whatever we need. If they can help, they're happy to help with that.
Okay. And Brianna, last question?
I just wanted to speak to the 4-way at Hawthorne and Rolfe Field. I will say that's an area that I've noticed because there are so many spots that they can cross. I personally would feel more comfortable with removing a guard there because you don't have to walk very far at all to get to another area where there is a crossing guard. So I feel like it would be very easy for families and kids to just take, another 400 feet and cross a little further down.
And it is something we're open to. Obviously, I know Brad's hesitation to, especially in his position as the director of student safety, or school safety, to say, hey, I don't, to take away crossing guards. That if this is something that we do want to explore, or if we're having that direction from you guys to say, hey, I think we should explore this more, because it would be nice to sort of hear what direction you would like, because it is something, if we were to consider, we would want to sort of start that, letting people know now.
Yeah.
So there's no surprises for next year when school starts, that there's not going to be crossing guards at that time. So it's never too early to start that type of communication.
Okay, thank you. Before you go, because we are moving the agenda around, we usually will have public comment ahead, but we have, the gentleman will be leaving. Is there anyone in the audience that has a comment, not a question, but a comment on hand? Okay. One more. You're like Columbo.
It's not a question. All the budget is for the year, even one crossing guard, is it worth that? I just divide it like, 260,000 by, 13 crossing guards. I mean, that's just kind of a simple thing, but $20,000, and is that worth, if there's only one, is it really worth taking that risk? So that's something we have to think
Yeah.
about and talk about when we look at, if that is going to be something we look at.
Yeah, Brianna is our liaison, as you know, so I would hope that as you continue to work, our budget does come up. I think our first meeting of discussion budget will be February, so we look forward to your report out on that. Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity and
Thank you.
appreciate your
Yeah.
support, truly.
Super. So the next item we're going to move up here is going to be presentation from Ventura County Public Works, George Andrade, who will be coming down carefully with his cane to talk about landscaping in our CSA area, and also from our contractor Mariposa. I'll ask that we keep to our comments as short as possible on there, but thank you for coming. Oh, you're not George.
I am not George. I'm Joan Araujo, one of the directors of Public Works. I've had the opportunity to speak to you before. I'll reveal George has a back and leg injury, so it was easier for me to come down the stairs, is all. So I did want to introduce our representative, Alyssa, from Mariposa, our new landscape company. They are not just a local company, they're beyond that. They're regional, they're throughout the state and also in other states. They're the company that was contracted through our general service agency after actually 2 RFPs to try to get within CSA 4's budget and first. So I'd just like to introduce Alyssa, and I think she has a presentation.
And I also wanted to have a conversation with you, not just talk at you. So I'm Alyssa. I am the branch manager for Ventura County area. There are actually 7 other territories that Mariposa has. We have Gardena, Ventura, Irwindale, and Irwindale Head, California, and Arizona. Years, we're a privately owned family company, so that means directors that is out of our control, and that's kind of it. And I'm just here to, just because it's not completed yet doesn't mean it's off of. I just want to know what's the priority. What would you want if there was extra funding to go to? Do we want to start breaking ground on Hawthorne only? Do we think maybe focusing on color in front of signs, or overseeding is an option as well? There's a lot of different areas and things that can be done. However, I'm not the captain of this ship. And I try to make everything happen.
All right, I think there would be quite a few comments that we'll have.
Yes.
I'm gonna,
Very concerned about what has been happening to our landscaping. It's
Okay.
really
Actually already been done. I forget the exact dates is when it was done, but an initial audit was done. Now you have all the pressure that is back to all these areas. Because of that, you didn't originally have all the pressure installed, and I don't know if anyone's familiar with water pressure, but it's very aggressive sometimes. So now we have a second proposal. We've done a second report as well that the county already has, that once approved, we're gonna go start right away. And that's why all the improvements I wanna do, unfortunately, have to be second, because without water, there's nothing much I could do. It won't grow. So no, irrigation has been top priority definitely for me.
So do we send a message, like the other morning I was
Yes.
walking my dog and the water was running for like half an hour in
Yes.
the median?
Mhm.
Do I send it to Mariposa? Do I send it to Crystal? Do I send it to Public Works?
It would be a ticketing system. I don't know exactly. Public Works.
Public
It would be a
Works,
ticketing system. The more detail, the better, I'll be honest, because when I hear it's on Cannon Road, that is. Yeah, and pictures, of course. No, picture that. Yes. Yeah, they filter them out, and that's way if getting done and addressed. Yes.
Thank you.
I might just add on that, for most issues, I would say, an irrigation break, I would contact Ashley immediately.
Yes.
Because when a ticket goes through the process, it's in the county and it has a period of time, and they might get to it within 4 or 5 hours or next day or whatever. So I think Ashley would have a much more direct hotline, the Commissioner Gordon line, to George. Okay. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Michelle?
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
I too have noticed improvements since we did the
Okay,
meeting
good
a
to hear.
couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
In fact, I drove through all the way through Canaan, and it's looking so much better.
Okay, thank you.
It's cleaned up. It just the pine needle ago looked really, really good. And I
Okay,
know that's
thank
really
you.
hard to stay on top of given
Yes.
the type of tree. So
Yes.
it's Public Works, but there are the pine needles that we pointed out a couple of weeks ago that are on Canaan Road across
Okay.
from the high school. I do not believe, based on what I learned yesterday, that that's a Mariposa
Oh, okay.
responsibility, and I know
Okay.
George can probably talk about that particular section of Canaan where there's pine needles. In regards to the Oak Park Monument, and I know
Yes.
there's been some discussion about how we can reduce the cost of the flowers that are planted in front of that. And currently, they're annuals. Historically, it's been annuals. They're lovely. By the way, they look so much better, the cleanup. I mean,
Okay.
even they're not even supposed to be doing well this time of year, but they're just not looking too bad. But, some of the, there's some discussion about how we can reduce the cost there. And
Yes.
so I got 2 suggestions.
Okay, love to hear it.
One would be is reducing the footprint, the width of that
Yes, that would be.
section.
Mhm.
Because even if we were to reduce that and we
Mhm.
kept it annuals, we would still reduce the
Yes.
cost, even, let's say 50%.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible and how that would look, but that's,
Okay.
certainly a design issue. The other thing is if we're going to look at perennials,
Yes.
I know that there are very few that are up to the standards that Oak Park has been used to seeing.
Yes, that's the-
It's not a
yeah.
lot of color.
No.
But there is one plant that does well year-round, takes
Okay.
low maintenance. It's
Mhm.
low enough where it does not, would not be too tall for that sign, because if anyone who's driven that, Oak Park, it kind of
Yes.
sits low.
Mhm.
So anything can't really grow too much higher than
Mhm.
it is today. But lantana comes
Yes.
in a variety of colors.
Yes, it does.
And in the summer, it could be, the orange and the yellow and
Mhm.
whatever, and you can intermix it with the purple and the white and the pink and this,
Yes.
but it is year-round,
Mhm.
and it is something that's easy to maintain, and if
Mhm.
we were to look at a perennial, that would be one that's
Yes.
flowering versus just looking
Yes.
at green. So those are my two suggestions for
Okay.
that concern about the cost of the flowers there.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, lantana was on my list of a few perennials. I'll be honest, sometimes there aren't many as much as they'll be there all year round. They won't be colorful. They'll be green, but not as colorful as you're used to, because I've seen the photos. They're beautiful flowers that have been there. And it's also the height is the concern. So we have to stay on top of the trimming. And eventually you'll one time see us out there cutting them a little down. And that will take away the flowers, but it's also to keep the height down. So it's not like we don't want the flowers there. It's more so of a concern. So that's why I don't know what everyone is more open to. If it's just color or cutting down the square footage would help, even spreading it out so it's not so tight. You could do 8 to 10 inches apart, up to you. I could run different numbers on that and just keep it from there. Another idea I had was, I know there's some monument signs that are taller than others. The perennials can go there, and then the annual color can go with the ones that are obviously a little shorter to the ground, is a suggestion.
And in regards to lantana, there's two types which you're probably familiar with. One is kind of grows like a mound. It
Yes.
gets quite tall.
Mm-hmm.
There's others that are just spreading
Yes.
out.
Yes,
And
more like a
I've got
carpet.
Got it in my yard, and it's
Mhm.
color year-round. The only
Yes.
time there's no color is when we have 30, 32-degree weather for
Yeah.
2 or 3 days. It dies back, but then it comes back, so.
Yeah, so it's pretty resilient once it gets established. I am a fan of lantana. They're everywhere in parks and hillsides and whatnot. So if that's something you're open to, I would say why not? It just is not going to look as lush and colorful as annual color has looked there in the past. That's the only thing that I want to be making sure everyone's on the same page and aware of, I guess.
I think what we're just looking for are the proposal and what the
Okay.
cost savings would be if we went from what we have today
Mhm.
to something, a hybrid that
Okay.
you suggested, to something cutting back the number or
Okay.
the depth. So I think if we look at all those and then look
Uh-huh.
at the cost, then we can,
Okay.
talk
And would
about it.
you like it priced out per sign or all of them together?
I think per sign.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that's what I was thinking. I just didn't know if there was a preference.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Brianna?
Thank you so much for coming. I actually have a lot of concern about the pine needles. We're
Yes.
headed right into fire season.
Yeah.
I run this area on a
Mhm.
regular basis almost every morning.
Yes.
And I've sent many pictures through the Public Works app. I send the street, the cross street, the pine needles. For weeks at a time, nothing was being addressed. And I got the sense that things were addressed on Hawthorne because this meeting was happening tonight. I just didn't see any action over this entire time until now. So it's an ongoing concern for me. It's a safety concern for me with the pine needles. So to me, the pine needles are a really high priority throughout Oak Park.
Yes, so I've come up with a separate price because what the contract says is it's weekly. So that means one time a week, the service of pine needles is conducted. That's the frequency that was set in the contract. That doesn't mean that's what the previous contractor was doing. There's things later down the line as a contract term goes out that you add on as needed and you see a bigger need. So I put together already a price to show what it would be daily in certain areas, and that's for the county to decide how they want to go about doing that, and then see from there, maybe we wouldn't do every day. Maybe we'd start with 3 days a week just to see if that's enough, because it's going to be a constant thing. That's the problem with the pine needles. They never go away. If anything, it's a concern if they aren't dropping, because the tree's probably bare, which means it is sick and needs to be taken out, and that is a bigger concern.
I just feel that the prior contractor did a much more
That's fine.
comprehensive job of getting rid of the pine
Mhm.
needles, and because it's a safety concern,
Yes.
it's important to me.
And that's fine. I did hear that there was a person set completely dedicated to doing that as part of the last crew. That's not what was part of the bid that we submitted in. So that's maybe why the difference in transition is so obvious. But that doesn't mean it's something we can't handle or can not take part in doing the same standard that you're used to.
Okay, thank you. Does the street sweeper pick up the needles, or no? It has to be done manually by a person?
It is manually. For us, there is a street sweeping separately that's done for the streets. That's the other thing. I don't know if when the street sweeper comes by, or if there's cars parked and people are driving by, that they kick them up that were left in the street for us to deal with. But no, it is picked up manually. So right now we're bringing about, I think I included for sure a photo in the last newsletter, around 30 to 40 burlaps is what we call them. Every day, I know by sound which truck that is, because that's how much weight it's carrying. Around one of those is probably 30 to 40 pounds. You're talking about over 1,000 pounds of needles daily. So we're picking them up. It's just they are constant. So that's where we're trying to see it.
Jail?
Yes, thank you for the things that you're doing to Oak Park. I also saw a marked improvement on our streets.
Thank you.
Just want to, you mentioned that you submitted a report or something, or a newsletter? Is that-
Yes, it's a report. What is it technically called? Yes.
Oh, so this is the one. Is this the one?
Yes. I don't know if that's too many words for everyone's liking. If you prefer more pictures, I have seen the old ones and they look more of like a magazine layout. I prefer to keep you informed as much as possible with dates and deadlines and how, I guess, long some things take and processes. So yes, that's something we have written.
Okay. And what's the frequency of the newsletter?
Monthly?
Monthly.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good start.
Okay.
Monthly report, so that we can review and take a look at what are the things that you're doing. And one thing that we'd like to highlight, Oak Park is a high fire risk area.
Yes.
And so if you see something that need to be trimmed and need to be addressed, let's address that as well
Okay.
in your newsletter, because
Okay.
you're there all the time on
Yes.
our street, so please highlight that in your
Okay.
report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm on the CSA4 committee, so I receive a lot of emails a week from residents. So I'm going to try to get as much as I can done in a short period of time as I
Yes.
can. Driving down Canaan, the center median, your company believes that the turf looks really good. There's a lot of dried out areas that are burned right to the ground. And I walked them today. There's no turf. It's burned out.
Okay.
So I would ask you guys to re-explore the cutting practice, because in my opinion, I don't think the turf has ever looked worse.
Okay.
Okay, it does not look good. It also, a lot of the median is super dry.
Okay.
It looks like Arizona desert. There's no water. Is the irrigation broken still?
No, it's actually up to what we already submitted a price for. The difference is that there are new things that have come up because you never actually had the full pressure of your system.
Okay.
You had even areas that were turned off. There's we didn't turn it off. When a ticket was submitted, we found out that somebody, we don't know who, turned off the water because there's no enclosures for the water. So that's something we're also looking into adding, just so we keep the control of the water. Maybe it was a kid, maybe it was whoever. Just got curious.
Okay.
But yeah, that
All right.
was something.
Well, I would ask re-explore that, because I think
Yeah.
the turf really needs to be reevaluated. Okay,
Yeah.
that's number one.
Mhm.
Next thing, as a committee, I know you started in July.
Yeah.
But since July, August, and September, the committee, we've asked for a cost estimate for Hawthorne.
Yes.
And we haven't received it yet. And
Yeah.
each time you folks do say you're going to have it done. But it is our number one priority landscape project that we approved this year.
Okay.
So Hawthorne, we're still waiting for that. We want to know what the planting scheme is, the palette that you want, and how much it's going to be. Plus, we also asked, since July, for a cost estimate for the monument on Canaan. It says, "Welcome to Oak Park," the planting.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a sign that we use as a community information board at Tamarind and Canaan. We asked for that, so we're still waiting for those cost
Yeah.
estimates. So we would really appreciate if you could have that soon, so we can, because when you ask what's our priority, I'd like to discuss that in October. I'd like to have the cost estimates for that, okay? Okay.
We have to remember our budget is what it is, and it's to cover the contract. It wasn't designed to add on extraordinary work. I say that with some good news. The the CSA has funded $40,000 a year for green streets, and that's a trash capture system that was put in a number of years ago. In some research, I found a different fund, nothing to do with Oak Park or the MAC or what comes on your tax bill, but that expense qualified under. And it's a regulated fund. It is strictly for certain aspects of trash and debris removal. So I've been able to, we call it journal voucher, that $40,000 out of an expense that will be incurred against CSA 4, and it'll get paid for out of this other fund.
Thank you.
So, no, it's fine. And so I've been speaking with Supervisor Gorella about this. He had challenged me, can you find another way to pay for this? So there's your credit. And I was really glad we were able to put that together. So with that $40,000 is within the budget. It does not now have a home, to be spent, but we have the appropriation. I don't have to go to the board to ask permission. So that would be our target when you talk about what your priorities are for what the MAC would like the most. And so if Mariposa can identify how much that could cover for what, like the three priorities you just listed, I think that might get us some traction with seeing the visible improvements you need.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
how far 40,000 will go, I don't know, but I want you to know we can always have priorities. Listen, to be in an awkward position
Okay.
to know about those dollars.
But if somebody slips and falls, I would imagine.
To know about those dollars.
But if somebody slips and falls, I would imagine very much that department owners there are going to have a problem there. So when you see an issue in our community, just remember there's a patchwork of ownership. See an issue in our community, just remember there's a patchwork of ownership. It may not just be county. So if you go on that site, you'll be able to see that. But I would ask, because we did it before at Lindero and Canaan, the commercial plaza there, which was abysmal and looked horrible, and it looks much better today thanks to Public Works and code enforcement. And I would just ask, maybe, Crystal, we could ask code enforcement to also look at Canaan across from the high school and go and work with the Country Oaks apartments to deal with that, because it was no more than 3 weeks ago on another part of Canaan Road, just to dangerous stuff. The last thing, and then I know we'll get some comments.
Yes.
In your report that you provided here,
Yeah.
there was something that caught my eye, and
Yes.
it indicates that you use pesticides.
Yes, we do.
This came as a bit of a surprise to me, but I know that they provide your pesticide herbicide reports to the Ventura County Agricultural
Yes.
Commissioner.
Yes, we do.
I would like to ask,
For a copy?
I would like, if it's possible, through Supervisor Gorell's office, if we could, as a MAC, receive a copy of those reports on a monthly basis so our citizens and us can see it and just sort of monitor it.
Okay.
I received probably close to 7 emails for people that were very upset by the use of herbicide, pesticide, but I
Yes.
think, can you explain
Why?
why you do it?
Yes. So obviously, as mentioned from the previous speaker before me, one of the highest costs is labor, as well as keeping up with what is growing around us. So we spray chemical because, not because we just want to throw it everywhere. That's not what pest control is about. Pest control is taking into consideration first the environment overall. So if there's insects, I personally would not spray for insects. They constantly move, and it's not going to be a beneficial application for the money that is set aside for that, as well as for the environment. That's the main priority here. It's more so to upkeep with the weeds that are going to go dormant, and then you're going to start seeing around in winter time that we won't be able to really spray. So that's what a pre-emergent is. It is done before it even starts sprouting, before the germination happens, as opposed to a post-emergent. We also do spot treatment. So that means I'm not doing a blanket application and just throwing chemical everywhere. I'm pinpointing certain areas and hot areas that are constant. So that is a thing. For anyone, pest control advisory, I have an associate's in that. So I don't just work in this industry. I have taken all the science classes that have been required for that as well. I really do love it. I know chemical is a very hot topic and always seen as bad. We do not spray glyphosate. That is the biggest one that has the biggest concern because of cancer and all the bad side effects. But that was also because of misusage. If you misuse anything in general, it's going to have bad repercussions. So we make sure we use everything properly, as well as we annually train everyone from our department that goes out and sprays. The person that was spraying, I think a week or so ago, maybe you saw him, he's in PPE. He is a certified QAC, which is a qualified applicator, so he is licensed as well. He has the licensing. He is registered with the county of Ventura as well. That's something we're required to do every year as a business, as well as reporting it. And when I started working here, that was the thing I had the most interest in, because there's such a negative connotation around chemical, but it is very beneficial when used properly. That is the biggest thing. So I went to school for it. I tracked all the different counties that we spray in. So I'm familiar with the ag commissioners. I have even submitted samples for them. I do work with them as well, not just doing school, and I constantly am up to date with what's in the agricultural standard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, one more.
Sorry.
You're good at this.
It comes up.
Yes.
And I brought this up during this month's CSA4 meeting
Yes.
when we met.
Mhm.
So the pine trees that cause the most public safety and the biggest challenge to stay on top of.
Yes.
I would like to see if we can, if it's going to cost more over time, say a 5-year period, for us
Yes.
to do daily pickup
Yes.
versus weekly,
Yes.
versus regular pine trees,
Yes.
not all of them, but the ones that are
Strategically.
above, a Canaan, or if we just took them out, and if we could plant other trees that are not messy.
Yes.
So I would like the county to explore that.
Stump, I can save you a bit of money. You want the stump out, I gotta add more, unfortunately, because it's not only the labor, it's the dump to dispose of that.
But if you look at that
yes.
$10,000 to remove, say, those
Yes,
4
I will
trees.
be honest.
Okay.
It
Let
would
me-
save you.
Okay, so
For
if you
sure.
just compare that to
Yes.
what would it cost over time,
Mhm.
5 years, if you didn't take them out and
Yes.
clean it up, is it going to cost us whatever it costs? So I think
Yes.
that is a good comparison,
Yeah.
so we can determine what is the right decision.
With the numbers I've already roughly ran without giving exact amounts, because I'm not sure what the county wants me to share and not, it would save you, even just looking at a month's cost of picking up pine needles daily. So if that's something to consider, it is saying goodbye to some pines, though. So but it will bring in more sunlight and instead of shade, to add more plants to that area that will do better than what has already been planted there. Because without sunlight and water, the plants don't do well and they stress out because they're new. So they're just getting established. So something to keep in mind when the prices are finally given to you, finalized.
Okay, thank you, Alyssa.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I have 2 speaker cards on this very issue.
Okay.
But you
Do I can sit?
go ahead. You can sit. Yeah.
Thank you.
bet. Stephen Kozel, card here, Mariposa herbicides. Welcome, Stephen.
Stephen Kozel. I live in May Boyer. Thank you very much, MAC committee member, board members, and Supervisor Gorell. And I don't see Ashley here tonight.
She's in New York.
Okay. Anyway, the herbicide chemical plan came to my attention too when I was reviewing that. And I would ask Mariposa to take another look at a product called Cheetah Pro.
What is it called?
Cheetah Pro. It's glyphosate. Okay, it's not glyphosate. It's a different agent. It actually comes from a Streptomyces bacteria from the soil, 2 different components. However, it's no longer licensed in Europe now because it is a reprotoxic agent. It's also long-lived in the environment. It'll stick around from anywhere from 3 to 70 days. You can actually find it in frozen foods that they've used to treat the field before they harvest and in flour and things like that. Probably not something we want to have in this community if there's other options, and I saw other options there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, one other thing. For the runoff, I saw a lot of complaints about runoff. We all deal with that in our own yards. You can get relatively safe copper complex pressure-treated wood now and put in edgings in those areas because most of the runoff that's happening is just very, very shallow with respect to the water that's carrying the mud. If you put something in like 2x6s, that will probably stop it if you have like 4 inches above the soil surface at the bottom of the banking. I have a big banking in my yard and I have to deal with it constantly. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Brian Mattson.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brian Mattson. I want to thank you guys for inviting me to join the Landscape Committee. I was there for the drive-through on August 6th, and I appreciated that opportunity to participate with Brian and the others. I wasn't informed about the September 3rd meeting, so if there's some communication issue, I'd certainly like to alleviate that because I'm actually very interested in making sure things continue. I was glad to hear tonight that there's a map for CSA4 indicating what's Mariposa responsibility and what others are. I'm wondering if it highlights the homeowners associations as well as the apartments, as you mentioned, Country Oak or Country Oaks. I think that's one of the biggest problems we have here in Oak Park. We don't know who's responsible for things. I appreciated the Mariposa report. There was a line item for Golden Eagle right at Golden Nugget Way where there was some dumping that was done. I actually live in that complex. I know the homeowner who did it. The Homeowners Association will have a letter out to him this week. I read that tonight. I didn't see it before that. He maintains his side yard, and I don't know if his contractor dumped that there, but it's obviously the same material that's in his side yard. So we'll start with that, and I'm happy to provide you additional information if you need it. I think what would really help the community is knowing where Mariposa is in the community during the 45-day period. I realize they can't be everywhere every day. You know, certain areas are getting cleaned up, certain areas still have problems. But I think one of the biggest problems we have, and I know they've started working on it, but the irrigation is still a major problem. They came through on Golden Eagle and cleaned Golden Eagle up. It looked really great. The irrigation comes on and there's overwatering, and watering is down into the sidewalk and mud is pouring into the dangerous as the pine needles. It's even more dangerous if anybody, has walked in any mud. Those of us that walk every morning know what that's like. There's lots of areas here in Oak Park. I know you also mentioned an issue with where there is a water break. I will tell you there's a 24 hours a day, Triumpho maintains a hotline. You can call in. It's actually dial security. They will call the local Triumpho person out to look at it. I was on Rockfield the other day over by Capri. Hundreds of gallons of water was, coming out of the ground. I called them. They were out there within an hour taking care of the situation. But we do have still with the sprinklers, especially along Canaan, right there before Losar, fact that it was SE, Southern California, Edison, who turned off the power. Power's got was from our recent rain. Same thing over there on Hawthorne. There's water that's coming down. I don't know if it's overwatering, but you can see the mud coming down into the street. I don't know what's happening with the planting there.
20 seconds.
Oh, thanks. That's about it. There is one other item. It's not really landscape, but I wanted to ask about a crosswalk at Bowfield and Lindera.
Okay, we'll get that on the next one. Crosswalk. Okay, thank you. Okay, the only other card I have for landscape, but I don't know the topic, Karen Yarnell. Okay, thank you. Okay, very good. I need a card, please. Fire issue. Please come up. Yeah, so yes, please. So this is pertain to the landscape.
Sorry, it does.
Yes, okay,
It does.
good, good, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Good thing I have it. First off, thank you. Amazing. I have such a loud voice. I always Myrtle. There are not big backyards, and there are. At least, could we please trim them away from the house? I have 2 grandchildren in that house because of those trees. It's really important. My house was in the fires. I am not against trees, love trees, but I love what Michelle said. Let's take out trees that are high maintenance and are fire, put in the right trees, and thank you guys so much. I really, if you could give Los Arcos that and we could trim them, I will leave you now and you won't have to see me for a while. But thank you for your questions. They were amazing tonight, and with Mariposa. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item we're going to move on to then is public comments. I do have speaker cards. If you wish to speak, please fill out a speaker card, please. I will start with Karen Yarnell. We can't hear you, and they can't pick up the microphone.
Yeah, we have this on recording.
Oh, can somebody bring a microphone to Karen, please? Understood.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you again. Matt.
Perfect. Thank you.
So my name's Karen Yarnell. I live up in Regency Chambord. I've been there for about 27 years, so just about almost half my life I've lived there. So I'm very immersed in the community and work hard in the community to keep everybody safe and respect our first responders and respect each other as community members. But something came to my mind the other day when I was trying to get out. There was a little car accident, first cars to get there, so I was stuck for about 20 minutes. To all of you who live up here in case of an emergency, and when we had to evacuate for fire, I called my husband. I'm like, do you have any cable cutters? Because I don't know how to get this open. So I just kind of waited. Who is responsible for that gate? It says sheriff. It says fire. It says, and thank you.
Yes.
Hi, R.L. Miller. I have lived in Oak Park since 1993. Walking my dogs, my one dog. I've lived in Oak Park since 1993. Walking my dogs, my one dog. and I was the first came down the southbound, hit two parked cars going south, hit two parked cars going south. So all the pickleball people come running out. Public Works briefly, that's about. But I'm here for two reasons. Okay, first off, following up on what Karen has said, is the access emergency road on the east side of Deer Hill Park is padlocked. There is a button that you can push that says, and I took photographs of it this morning, but at the top end it says button you can push to ring the fire department. However, pushing a button doesn't do any good when there's padlocks on that gate. The buttons are not going to make the padlocks go away. So, as a matter of public safety, the people in Regency, Chambord, and the Heatherview tract need an alternative to Deer Hill in the event of any kind of blockage of Deer Hill, because right now there is no of Regency, Chambord, or the Heatherview tract without going down Deer Hill Road. There's a second gate, and there's a pumping station owned by Triumph over there after I saw that accident, because I thought maybe they might have the keys to the padlock. They often leave the southern gate open to access, because they've got a bunch of trucks and things going in and out. But the north end is padlocked shut, and this is a major, major fire hazard for the people in these tracks.
15 seconds.
Okay, I got a second comment though, and I'm sorry for
15
going.
seconds.
Okay, second one is paint red zones on Deer Hill so that there will be no parked cars. The public park and pickleball users should be parking in Deer Hill Park. This way, Deer Hill doesn't have parked cars. It doesn't go down to one lane. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
For the safety also of cyclists. My husband's a cyclist, and there's no lane for the cars to go, and it's a bad, dangerous situation.
Okay, Brian Matson, you had another comment on crosswalk. Your time is on right now. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing I'm asking at Beaufield and Lindero Canyon, there is no crosswalk across Lindero Canyon. There's a lot of traffic that happens there in the morning, a lot of people walking, not only with their dogs, but themselves, and it would be nice if we had at least a crosswalk there. I don't know that we need anything other than a painted crosswalk, because there's many cars that will stop, but there's many cars that won't stop when they see people in the middle of the road.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The only other card I have here is with Stephen Cosell and Medea Creek, but that comes at that presentation later on. Is there anyone else here, haven't filled out a card, that you wish to speak on, comment on? You have a card? Or? I'll tell you what. If you can take the microphone up, and we'll need your name, full name, so we can, for the record, okay? And I'll write your name on the back of this card.
All right, my name is Brittany Lewis. I've lived in the area for a very long time, about 8 of Lindero Beaufield, and it's powered at night, so nobody's really it, but it's been going for a long time. Documented it a few nights now, but the mud has been going into the road for a little bit now. That's my comment.
Is it still going as when you came here?
As of a night or so ago, yes, it's continuous.
Okay.
Yeah, the apartment complex claims ownership of that corner. I've been on the phone with surveys trying to find out who is responsible for it, but yeah.
On Beaufield.
Beaufield and Lindero, where the Oak Park apartment sign is.
Fascinating, because this week I was working with George on that very question, and the county CSA has the north and south side of Beaufield, but the entranceways into, that's private.
Okay.
Okay, so where you're seeing the leak, Is it at the entranceway?
It's right behind the Oak Park apartment sign. Yeah.
That's private. It sounds private. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You can talk to George right there. The man is right 2 doors down from you. Okay, thank you. Is there any, ma'am, boy, we're really giving you a workout tonight, aren't we, Israel?
The website for the MAC.
Oh, I'm going to, for the MAC itself?
No, the map.
Oh,
Oh, the GIS.
he'll pull it up, okay? He'll get it for you, yes. If I had known, I would have brought it. Is there, I'm going to make a last call. Is there anyone else that had wanted to reach? I saw people, but they left. I take it that they're not coming back. Okay, all right. Public comments are now closed. At this point, the next item we will look at is the written public comments received and that we have. Jane, did you receive any written comments? No? Michelle?
No.
Brianna?
Yes, I did.
Could you please read them, as we're required to do?
Dear Supervisor Gorell and Oak Park MAC board members, my name is Craig Kronfeld and I have lived on Brindale Avenue in Oak Park for 34 years. I attended my first MAC meeting on July 31st and spoke about 2 safety concerns: the ongoing issue of speeding in Oak Park and the growing problem of electric bike riders disregarding traffic laws. I believe both present significant safety hazards to our community. Following the meeting, I took it upon myself to visit the CHP office in Moore Park, as I was never given direct contact information. Fortunately, I was able to speak directly with the CHP officer who patrols our area and gain insight into their operations. He understood my concerns. One reason this issue matters so much to me, which I did not raise at the meeting, is that in June I was rear-ended at Canaan and Thousand Oaks Boulevard by a distracted driver. My car was totaled and I sustained medical issues. Keeping functioning traffic signals and community appearance, I believe public safety should be an equal, if not higher, priority. Residents and visitors can travel safely. I am unable to attend the 25th September concerns. Although the new pickleball courts on Deer Hill Road are already completed, one issue remains, including drivers opening doors into traffic and pulling out without checking. I did speak to Dan at thank you for your time and for addressing these important matters, and fiscal accountability will receive the attention they deserve.
I received one from Eric Steiner on September 21st. Dear SA for irrigation and landscape issues. I talked with Supervisor Gorell back in May of 2025 during his coffee bar sidewalk grow. It seems like a waste of time, effort, and money to cut the weeds instead of removing them. Work to commence and not continuing to mention the issues. If I understand correctly, Mariposa is assessing the current state of...
Mentioned in the letter, I have definite concerns about the safety on Deer Hill by the pickleball. It's using that park can utilize safely, and I don't feel that it's currently a safe situation on Deer Hill lining up right by the pickleball court. So if public works, I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay. Michelle?
No, thank you.
Jane? No. Okay, and I just want to echo Eric Steiner's comments as well. This has been a couple of years in the wait, so I agree. Okay, next item will be the Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District representative. We have Eric Lundstrom here from our district. Eric's your last will and testament. Eric is here. He represents North Ranch and or Wood Ranch, sorry, and Oak Park, and he's on Rancho Simi. He gives greetings and brings us up to speed. And would we be able to do this within like 5 minutes?
When I said, I was just saying 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely need to go faster for things in less time. So, my name's Eric Lundstrom. I'm your representative for the Rancho Simi Recreation Park District. If I get the mic. Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. So I have 5 minutes, so I got to get this done quickly. I'll focus on the talking points. So the board of directors for the Rancho Simi Park, we're going to have a budget committee meeting, and it's just more of a formal, informal meeting, so we can talk about how the assessments get back into the budget itself. So everybody has an understanding of what it costs for us to do everything, because obviously there were some concerns at the last meeting that we had here, and there were some questions and concerns. With that, we're going to have it over at the Oak Park Community Center. It'll be October 15th, and I believe it's going to be it's going to be October 23rd at 5:30 p.m. So you guys have a MAC meeting at 7. I wanted to make sure that we got it done. We could do it all in one day, and everybody could get as much information if they were looking for that information. Basically, I want to make sure that we can kind of just follow the dollars. When we pay our property tax bill, it goes to the county sends it back to the park district, and how does it get allocated into the fund? So we all understand how the flow of the dollars go, because that's ultimately the number one concern that we all have. We just recently, as a park district, received from the state Special District Leadership Foundation, we received an award for District Transparency Certificate of Excellence. So just so you know, that is telling us that staff at the district itself is doing a heck of good job making sure that information is available for anybody. We try to make sure that all other information that meets those criteria, and it was over, I believe, a 2-year process that they had to gather all this information to show this is what we're doing as a park district for the citizens. So that was a feather in the cap for, I have to give all credit to staff members. The board, we just sit back and all of that stuff, but it's the staff that does that provides a really good parks for everybody. With that, Deer Hill Park, we have the latest installation of a water bottle station that was added. We had some concerns of not enough water for pickleball players that were there, and anybody else that wants to be at the park to get some good water and everything. So tennis courts were resurfaced over at May Boyer and Indian Springs Parks. So they were newly kind of updated. So that's a good thing for everybody here in the community. The bigger one, and I talked about it last time I was here, and this is dealing with the fire and weed abatement. Mr. Burrell is not here, but with the assistance of the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy and the CAL FIRE, we were able to receive $3.3 million worth of grants. And with that, the project ultimately is going to cover the Medea Creek and the Lindero Creek areas. And the objective is to remove dead and dying vegetation and burnt materials from previous wildfires, creating vertical clearances to vegetation, and removing invasive species. It's all subject to environmental studies, permits, and public bidding when we do these projects. The Phase 1 project is the portion of Canaan to Oak Hills. And right now we're beginning the process of going out for public bidding. Phase 2 is the portion of Doubletree to Conifer, and Phase 3 is primarily the Lindero Creek area. And they themselves are in the environmental and permitting phases right now. So kind of a long process to get these things done, but we're getting real close. So that Phase 1 portion, once we get through that bidding process, it probably will be about 30 to 45 days once we finish it before they can really get something going, which is a good thing for us by the end of this year here. We have further work that will occur on Medea Creek besides that. And then we also have the project delivers fire mitigation for homes within 100 feet of Medea Creek, which includes about 75 homes. And it's just as a side note, we just had a fire going on in Simi Valley on the north side of the freeway, and I could hear other people's phones were beeping through watch duty. One of the notes that was in there from the fire command was that there was good weed abatement buy some homes that actually helped contain these things. So that's why these things that we're doing are going to be really important to everybody that lives along the creek area. We have a fall and winter brochure that's now available over at the district, or you might have gotten it in your mail. And I guess they have a pretty cool one. It's the wellness-related sound bath program is going to be starting soon. So if anybody's interested in that, that's an opportunity to kind of relax just a little bit.
45 seconds. 45 seconds.
45 seconds, okay. And then we have the Halloween Carnival going to be over at the Community Center on October 31st. And overall, the Rancho Simi also oversees the community garden in town. And plots are available. You can contact the Community Center. There's a phone number there, 818-865-9304. They'll forward your information to the community members that help you obtain a plot. So, did I get it in time?
Perfect. You demand.
Love it.
Okay, don't sit down. We see where's.
Well, let me get my pen so I can write down some notes and everything.
I'll open up the dais. So, Jael, do you have any questions, comments for Eric? Can you put
Yes.
the microphone?
Yes, thank you very much, Eric. So on the meeting on October 23rd, will there be any discussion about increases in tariff or tax during that time, or no?
Increases. So the areas that I asked the staff to make sure that we focused on was the property tax portion of your tax bill. And out here in Oak Park, there's two separate assessments. And I want them to focus those three, just a discussion on that. And then the fourth one to open it up as just a conversation of what we're doing. When we met here, when the park board met here, we approved staff, we told staff, go ahead and go out and start there's an engineer, they call it an engineer's report. They do this massive assessment of properties and things like that and what it would ultimately cost. So we haven't gotten to that portion yet as a board to talk about, but ultimately to have as an open dialogue for people to sit around the table and just have that conversation. Okay, so that ultimately would be like the fourth item we could talk about.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Brianna?
No questions, thank you.
Michelle?
No, thank you very much.
Jane?
About the budget meeting on October 23rd being the same day as a MAC.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So I
correct.
just want to make sure
I didn't
that
double book, that's
it
Come in,
starts at
yeah.
5:30.
Yes.
Your meeting starts at 5:30.
5:30
Thank
at
you.
the community center itself. So,
Thank
and I had the opportunity to help water the oak trees and everything over by the park and everything. So if anybody is interested, every couple months, I believe the group Friends of Oak Park go out and try to help maintain a lot of these young saplings and everything. So if anybody's interested, you can join the party. So
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
We very much appreciate you being here.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Number 8.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Based on any comments that you, Mac, that you have, based on the presentation that you've heard here, or on any other type of comments, just at this point, do you have any other comments you wish to make, Jane?
No.
Michelle?
Yes, and this is non-related. This is not a liaison report. A couple things that Eric just mentioned about the baby oak watering. That took place on August 30th, and I was part of the original collection of the acorns a couple of years ago, and it was such a wonderful sight to see 110 baby oak trees. So even if you can't get out there to help water and mulch when the Oak Park Friends of Open Space reach out, if you're up in Oak Canyon Community Park, stop by there. It's kind of off the beaten path. You kind of have to go through some bush to get to it. But it's amazing to see 2 groves of these baby oak trees. And so I applaud everyone who was a part of the collection of the acorns, getting them started, getting them planted, and then the care and feeding of it, and it's going to be pretty exciting. I hope I live long enough to see them get a little mature. On August 3rd, I attended the Oak Park Community Garden Center butterfly exhibit. If you've not been to the Community Garden Center, it's amazing. The folks there, it's just a good feeling, but those that were doing the presentation or answering questions about butterflies, and they walk through all the stages of the butterfly development, and they show, the egg attached to the little plant, and then, on the worm, not the worm, but whatever it's called. I'm not an expert. And then it was just amazing. So they are truly a gift and an asset to the community. So stop by, even if you're not a gardener. It's just really a fun thing. And they plan to do this butterfly exhibit annually. So hopefully we'll see that. And amazing educators with our children. And let's see, we were going to talk about the pulled agenda items later.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
And the last thing I want to mention is Brian had mentioned earlier about the tickler log that we have, the open and close. This is not a design to everything that we hear tonight, everything falls in that report. So it's the kind of the big ticket type of requests or issues get put on there. We want to make sure things don't fall through the cracks, whether it's Public Works or other agencies within the county or even ourselves. So it's accountability and visibility. But we do encourage everyone to, even if you've raised concerns this evening about, I heard about unnecessary, for perhaps a crosswalk off Lindero, this is where the ticket system is really valuable, because then the Public Works gets this in their queue and then can start to prioritize and look at these things and assess how it is. So the ticket system works great. I use it. George knows my name well in the ticket system, so encourage that.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. Brianna?
You don't want me to give my liaison report at this
No,
time?
not yet,
So then
no.
no other comment.
JL?
Yes, I'd like to acknowledge the Office of Supervisor Gorell's event regarding the Zone Zero. I was not able to attend online, but I was not able to attend in person, but I was able to watch the recording. So I would like to invite everyone to go to that link and watch it, because it's very informative. And I also would like to thank you guys, Crystal, and the Office of Supervisor Gorell, for spearheading the open house, which is coming on October 25th. So very, very appreciative of that, and Oak Park Fire Safe Council will be there as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item we're going to do is Oak Park Committee and Liaison Reports. The first one is CSA Landscape Committee report by myself. You already have that. That's in the consent agenda, so that is my report. Next one would be the Legislative Committee, Michelle and I are on. Just a quick update, Michelle.
Sure. Since we last met, there have been no items on the Board of Supervisors agenda that pertain to Oak Park, so there's no report.
Okay. Oak Park Unified School District, Brianna.
All 5 Oak Park schools went back to school on August 5th, including the 3 TK classes housed in the beautiful new classrooms provided for by Measure S school bond funding. OPUSD continues to be grateful for all the projects funded by Oak Park voters in the state of California, 390th in the nation. HS also had 9 students who were named National Merit Finalists and 21 additional students that were commended. The school sites have sent out e-bike notifications outside of the school day and outside of the campuses. They currently have very few students that actually ride their e-bikes to and from. They're hoping to meet with them before their October 14th school board meeting. It is their hope through this meeting to gain a better understanding of what the supervisor's office is doing to connect with the city of Agoura Hills in case of a wildfire-related emergency, as this will affect their fire response plans with so many students coming to Oak Park schools from outside of Oak Park. It is their goal to communicate district fire response plans with OPUSD parents sometime in October.
Thank you. JL on Fire Safe Council?
No further comment.
Okay. Jane on Triumph for Water and Sanitation District.
Yeah, I have 3 areas that I wanted to bring up. The website has been improved and streamlined. There are going to be 2 water smart workshops presented by Triumpho. The first
that's my kind of water.
It's free beer and it's a popular event, so that's it for me.
Thank you. All right. Next, we'll talk about, we did already do some announcements, future Oak Park MAC meeting agenda items. We don't discuss them tonight. We're just going to identify what we want to, based on what we've heard in the past the past week or so, and what we heard tonight, what do we want to put on the October agenda. The chair has 2 items he wants to see in October's agenda. The first one will be the Oak Park MAC's 2025 achievements and 2026 work plan. We have to do that every year as required by the Board of Supervisors, but we won't necessarily need to approve it until January, but I would like the MAC to begin our process of thinking of what we want to do. That's one. And the second one is, last meeting, Stephen Kozel asked to have the Oak Park Community Gardens here for a presentation. I know Ashley tried to get them. It didn't quite happen. Let's put that on the October agenda. That's my comments. JL, do you have items for October?
Thank you.
Brianna?
I would like to add the Deer Hill item and the safety to the agenda. Deer Hill and pickleball court safety.
No, I have no comments.
Okay.
No request.
No, Jay? Okay. I think Israel, will you be giving any?
Thank you.
Are there any quick comments from?
The Oak Park Community Gardens is confirmed for next month.
Thank you.
Requests for crosswalks need to, for the Ventura County Transportation Commission, Supervisor Grell serves on the commission and is pleased to share that 5 more accessible buses are joining the fleet to better serve the community. The fire station open house, and for the Oak planning, and are able to present their efforts at a future MAC meeting.
Okay, thank you, Crystal.
So,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Quick.
Ticket, or are you going to take care of the?
I can take care of that.
Thank you very much.
Good comment.
I really appreciate the sheriff provided the details surrounding a couple of burglary about statewide or maybe countywide, what, efforts and what have been done. But I think, Oak Park wants to. Nothing happened in Oak Park, which would be great. But I think that should just be part of their report that there are no incidents. So that way, at least we have that information, and that applies to both agencies.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's AMB?
Correct.
The California, okay. And the other item that was pulled was E, the receive and file of the Oak Park MAC tickler.
Yes.
Did you pull that too?
I did, and I already mentioned it as part of the tickler system, how important that is and the purpose of ours. But I want to go back to Crystal. I want to just thank you very much for being a part of the team. I know it's been a short time. You've jumped right in, and I knew we are extra. Oak Park is extra, and for all of you who basically position replacement, the field rep. So Ashley's been filling.
They want to pull consent item A, B, or E, JL?
Yes, regarding letter A incident, I think the first one, they got the guy, but the second one, I was hoping to get an update from the officer, but I think he left already. But yeah, it seems that there's a lot of things going on as far as burglaries are concerned. So everybody, please, I think we need to be vigilant and take the necessary precaution to protect ourselves and our neighbors. Thank you.
Okay. Brianna, any comments?
No more comments.
All right, and Jane?
No.
And the chair doesn't either. Okay. We're on the last item of the evening. This one will be a presentation from Ventura County Public Works Deputy Director Jeff Palmer on Medea Creek. The chair just wants to say that I've met Jeff just in a short period of time, and I'm absolutely impressed as a long-term plan. When I read Jeff's credentials online. About a month ago, the main stakeholders, Public Works, Rancho Simi, ourselves, myself, and all the interests. But we still have a lot of work to go. Jeff's going to talk tonight about to protect the flood issues of the community and the hydraulics. So that'll be our next balance. So really welcome you. I'm glad you're here, and thanks for sticking.
First thing I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce Dr. Thea Nance. She has joined the county. She is our Watershed Protection District Director. I'm glad to brings tremendous credentials to us. She's a civil engineer in the state of California, a California native, moved away for a while, did some work in the New Orleans area. But I think where she came from the last 4 years prior to joining us under the Biden administration was the director of the EPA for the southern region. So she brings tremendous environmental credibility to us and brings a lot of experience to our team that I think is very valuable. Going on, I was going to talk about our creek walk. Back on the 21st of August, a bunch of agencies got together and did a little creek walk. Brian talked about Rancho Simi was there, the fire department, the supervisor's office, and of course some people from Public Works. We're going to get back together here in Little Duckies presentation. When our crews are out working in the mature ducks, the parent ducks, the babies, and what we need to do and how far away we need to stay away from them so they have the space they need to make sure that they grow up and fly away nice and healthy in the spring. We have not scheduled our Medea Creek maintenance yet. We're still working on a schedule, but we're not going to go in and clear cut everything. We're going to leave all the cattails and leave all the water plants. You get the watercress, you get the low stuff, as well as the cattails. So we're going to leave that. We need to remove the willows. Willows are a fast-growing bush that become massive trees very quickly. And once they become trees, they're susceptible to being pulled down by the force of water when it does come and become part of the debris load that causes us issues in terms of making sure the creek stays clear. So I'm looking forward to our next walk. Brian's setting it up, and Ashley in the supervisor's office has been working to get it rescheduled. But we're going to work together to figure out how to do this and make it right. You know, it's an amenity for the community, but it's also something that provides flood control, and we need to make sure we keep all that balanced. But I'm really excited about the team and everybody's participation, and thank you, Brian, for setting some of those things up.
Thank you.
But I'll be happy to answer any questions. I wanted to keep this short. I know it's been a long evening.
Jane?
No questions. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Thank you.
Brianna?
Thank you so much, and also welcome.
Looking forward to see your report, especially on how you can balance all the fire safety requirements. So, yeah, thank you very much.
You were in Washington?
I was in Dallas serving the 5 states of Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and New Mexico.
We are so lucky to have you.
But thank you.
It's,
So happy to be back in California.
She's in a little shell shock. She's not used to having the support around her of a team that believes in environmental issues. So
whoa. You're in, it's like Allstate. You're in good hands.
I constantly have to tell her, though, we don't do things like that here.
You're in great hands. You're going to be excellent. I think the only other thing I just want to say is this has come a long way. It's been a long time coming, and you know, we as a community have seen so many times, twice a year, where the county's contractors have gone in and literally denuded all the vegetation to nothing, and all the life was sucked out of the environment. And when we found out and talked to contractors, we found out it's more profitable for them to go in and clear cut than it is to go in and just take it out little bits. And it's like, well, then write the contract to say, get educated, do it right, and if that's not what you do, then we don't want you.
I don't know what they did years ago, and I've heard plenty of stories, so I believe them. We now are in a position where we do the work ourselves.
That's
It's
great.
our crews. It's not profit-based. It's not sort of trying to get in quick and do it quick and make money. My
Thank you.
direction to our crews is go in and remove the minimum amount necessary to provide for flood protection and try and balance that. It's a little hard to remove some of these big willows very surgically, but you know, I've asked them to do the best they can, and it's not about trying to do it quick and trying to make money.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I just have one speaker card, Stephen Kozel. You wanted to speak on Medea Creek? I really can't hear you. No, I need a microphone. It's more important is can they hear you?
Yeah, we're streaming.
You're streaming.
I just wanted to say thank you. It sounds encouraging. Until recently, is we need to pay attention to this. And I'm talking, you've heard about it, fan palms, acacia, even, gosh, a whole number of other invasives out there, castor bean especially, fig, they're all problems. And I'm happy to hear that you've got a team looking at it now, and I look forward to hopefully having an emphasis on taking that stuff out.
Well, you'll be with us, Stephen, on the next tour. So. I don't know. Wait, I think.
Any more
No,
comments?
were you? Oh, I think we're. Okay, thank you. Michelle, you had something you wanted? Yeah.
So we haven't seen our student rep in some time because there was, summer was off. So welcome back, and would love to hear from you if you had any updates that you want to share with us tonight.
There's not much going on. That's why I was gone for the summer, so they told me not to come to them because there were no updates. But the only thing that's really happened recently is homecoming, which was this past weekend, and we had 700 people attend. I'm the chair of dance committee, and I think it went pretty well. So, but that's pretty much it for now. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I could hear you from my house.
Oh, actually?
Yeah.
The dance?
No, but the homecoming.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It is now 9 o'clock on the button. Yay! Our next Oak Park MAC meeting will be here October the 30th, the day before Halloween. I don't think we're going to wear any costumes, right? Do you guys want to wear costumes?
No, thank you.
I guess that's a no. I wanted to.
You can. You can.
We'll discuss. Anyhow, that's adjournment. Thank you all for coming.
Maybe people will come to see us in some costumes.
9 o'clock, amazing. Thank you.
I've been pushing that hard. I think I pushed everybody on